You got it, folks. I know you wanted it. This is our Maxwell Tiny Desk review
What happened?
for you.
The streets was asking for it.
I know they wanted it.
They were hitting your line.
Nah, they weren't. But I know it's sarcasm. I know people don't like my Tiny Desk reviews because I don't like Tiny Desk, and so I know people are not excited that we're about to do this, but we're about to do this, y'all. And so let me start if you don't mind.
Oh no, I was gonna suggest you start.
Okay, good. So I really appreciate Maxwell and the way he did this. He seemed to be coming from a very uh, gratuitous, thankful, appreciative place. I think it was cute that he was up there like, man, I was just so nervous and, trying to just boost up this platform and what they do for artists. And also the fact that, as he said, quote, you can't lie up here. The music cannot lie.
Right.
And also, real quick, as a side note, an asterisk, an aside, a joke. Can somebody please buy Maxwell glasses that don't fall? Because every 2 seconds, poor Maxwell had to keep adjusting his lovely lenses, his frames, his shades.
Maybe you left the other ones at home or something.
Yeah, I don't know. It kept falling. I felt bad. I was like, man, poor Maxwell. I think Maxwell did an amazing job of this performance. With this performance, he showed his vocal range. He kind of did some whisper singing for you. He did some bellowing out. I think he did a great job with this performance. I think he did a great job showing off his personality. He gave y'all dance moves standing and sitting. Um, Now, I will say, I do have to say one thing about Tiny Desk. I'm a little confused about what's going on over there because a lot of artists have come there and tried to get crowd participation, and no one has been involved. No one has participated. But somehow, everyone there, and it seemed like there were a lot of people for this one. I gotta tell you, it sounded like a packed house, a packed desk, if you will. And it was a lot of people there that knew all the words. And I said, man, what a cheat code is going on? Because maybe Maxwell is just that fire that all the staff knew it. And maybe Jeezy and the Locks and everyone else that we've seen recently were not as fly. I don't know. Perhaps Maxwell is just the exact type of music that staff loves. But I said, man, Maxwell has gotten the most crowd participation I have probably ever seen on the Tiny Desk. Because even Usher, it wasn't the whole crowd. Not like that. This was the whole crowd singing at the top of their lungs.
Now, I did recently learn that they can invite people who are local to them, the artists.
Right.
So,
So you think the Maxwell fan club was reached out to?
what I'm saying is there probably were a sprinkling of people who know him or who were invited by him and his camp.
Okay.
Especially because he's NPR is in DC, and he's from New York, so hop, skip, and a jump for his people to be there, right? I did learn that recently. Also, I think it might be the demographic of employees, because the first thing I thought when they started singing along with him was, oh, there must be a lot of black women in the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think sometimes that shows. Like with Usher, even though maybe people weren't as loud or there weren't as many voices, and that could just be the day that it happened. I mean, this is happening in people's workplace, so there could have been a day where there was a lot going on with the company and a lot of people couldn't go. It could be that simple. But I also feel like when he did it, he he engaged people, and you could tell that again there were people in the audience who seemed to fit a certain demographic.
Right.
I also don't watch all Tiny Desks, so I don't know what that looks like when, I don't know, when Zendaya does it, or when a Miley Cyrus does it, or I don't know that she's ever done it, but um, I know Lizzo's done it. I don't know what that looks like because I haven't seen it, and I know there are a bunch of non-black artists that have done it that I have not seen because
Okay.
that's just not my ministry. But so yeah, I'm not sure. As far as the crowd participation goes, I feel like if I consistently watched it every time they did one, then I could make a better assessment of that. But I do think it speaks to how popular Maxwell has been over the years, and
Right.
I know his career today is different just because so much time has passed. But when Maxwell was at his peak, I mean, Maxwell was dropping them panties.
You know, Maxwell still is dropping them panties, and I think that was extremely clear at Tiny Desk.
Yes, I agree with that, but I'm just saying this is not the height of his career.
Got it.
At the height of his career, like Maxwell was giving giving out a business, you know? So I'm not surprised that people will be, and listen, he shouted out the millennials
Yep.
because of, there were some rumblings about Pretty Wings among the Gen Zers a while back. And so he did address that.
I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. I figured it was TikTok.
Yeah, I think it was the TikTokification of Pretty Wings, but I can't remember exactly what the issue was because I normally don't pay attention to things like that. But so I can't remember exactly what happened, but I do know that it was becoming a topic of conversation. It was around the time, well, I think people still do this, but I think there was a period of time in the last few years where people were like going back to songs from, like, I guess when we were young and tearing them apart and talking about how terrible they were and how toxic they were. I
Got it.
think this was one. I think Pretty
Yeah, the
Wings was
toxic music thing is still happening. People are still posting music and saying like, "Oh no, I didn't realize how toxic this was until today. Y'all see this? Oh my god, it's crazy that they said that. How do we let them get away with this toxic shit?"
right, but this got even deeper because it was the Gen Zers who were like, "Oh my gosh, you guys are terrible. You millennials are terrible people."
All
It
right, well,
wasn't even I didn't. It wasn't even I didn't know. It was more of y'all are terrible because y'all allowed this to happen.
all right, fuck them. Anyway, back to Tiny Desk.
Not even gonna call us old in the comments.
So what? Fuck them. I mean, whatever. Back to Tiny Desk.
I know,
Yeah, I figured it
but
was some TikTok bullshit he was addressing, and that's fine. Um, I thoroughly enjoyed this. I thought him doing the Al Green song was great. He bodied it. He did great. He seemed extremely happy to be there, very into the performance. I thought that
very.
was amazing.
Mhm.
And when it was over, I said, man, I could have watched more of this.
Oh, here we
Um,
go.
but I was satiated with, no, I'm gonna be honest. I was satiated by the amount of time given. I said,
Okay.
this was good. This was great. I would watch this again. I did
Yeah,
not feel like, hey, I got gypped. And maybe that's why it was 30 minutes.
it was
Um,
great.
I still don't know why some people get 30 minutes and some people get 12, but I'm not going to say that every time we review one. And so that's it for me. I was happy to see this. I'm glad Maxwell is getting some shine. And I would like to applaud Tiny Desk for their output. They are, the last year or two, have been nonstop with putting out just, performance after performance. And
Yeah.
they've done a great job. Oh, and last thing I'll say, his band did a phenomenal job as
So
well.
good.
And shout out to the brother that was smiling the whole time he was singing backup. The whole time that man was smiling as he was singing. He was very happy to be there.
Yeah, it was great. Oh my gosh, I loved every moment of it. This is probably one of the best ones I've seen in a while. Um, there were some in between that I did not like, by some of my favorite artists, honestly. But this was great. I loved this. Yeah, I was like, give me more of this. And his personality, I just love his personality. I think it was super cool that he was so engaging.
Yep.
I wasn't even bothered by the fact that the people in the audience were singing his song, because that's something I don't like. Because they weren't singing it because he wanted them to. They were singing it because
Because
they
that's their
wanted
shit.
to. Yeah, and I thought it was so cool the first time it happened, when he got so like overwhelmed by it, and he kind of looked around like, "Oh my gosh, wait! So y'all just going, okay?
Right.
Y'all are singing my, okay? Oh, y'all know all the words, okay?" I think that's cool, and I think that also speaks to the fact that he's an artist who has had a long career, and it's nice to today feel recognized, even by that small cluster of people. That is probably the scariest audience to go in front of, because you don't know if they're
Right.
your fans. You don't know if they're gonna like what you do. You have no idea what the reaction is gonna be. They could stay completely silent if they want to be,
Yep.
and you can't really say much, Busta Rhymes. But yeah, so I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. Um, I knew it had to be good because my mom don't really do a whole lot of YouTube stuff. But mom hit me and was like, "I don't know if you were planning on watching Maxwell on Tiny Desk, but you should watch it." I said, "Oh, okay, girl.
She
Well, I'm gonna
peaked
check
her
it
interest.
out." Yeah, I'm gonna check it out. She was trying to put me on. I said, "Oh, okay. Well, it was on my list.
Right.
But now that you said you saw it and you liked it, I'm gonna make sure I really do watch it."
Right.
So your girl was trying to hold me down. So I appreciate that.
I tell you, best mom ever.
Right. So anyway, that's what we got for y'all. If you haven't seen it, definitely a must watch.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. I liked it. I liked it, and I thought he looked good too. So yeah, I might have to check out his show.
I hear that.